Fellas, I made the most lazy horror game in the world, and I'm going to prove it to you now. When the player, this is the player, controlled by the mouse, enters into the area of this box, there will be a loud jump scare sound, and the scariest thing I could think of will pop up. Yeah, there's not a whole ton going on with this horror game. But that's okay, because I made another lazy horror game. But everybody knows that the real big boy horror games are 3D. What, your horror game only has 2 dimensions? Pfft. Look at that. It's so flat. Your sprites are flat. Your music's flat. Your asset's flat. Your mama is so flat. Well, your tire's a little flat. The earth is provably not flat, and your girlfriend is imaginary. Fortunately for me, I've already created a setup for 3D player movement with a camera following mouse movement and all that horse jazz. All I need to do is clickety-coppity boop, and now we've got a player walking around like a brand new spanking spring chicken. This is fun and all, but we're trying to make a horror game, and I'm not feeling the pee flow down my pant leg with these clean white assets and blank background. So let's put our little buddy here in a more unnerving environment. Upstate New York. Let's slap down some fake grass, and I'm too lazy to figure out what open world even means nowadays. So here's some walls to keep the player feeling like they have too much freedom. Because we're going about this the same way I go about eating crackers on the couch on a Friday night, I'm going to use a tree model I created a long time ago so I don't actually have to make something new. Here's the lineup. Looks like we've got some solid options.
What is this?
Here's a good one. Literally just 2 intersecting PNGs of a tree. The jank is mwah. Spread those trees around like an STD and things are looking a bit rash. But a good kind of rash. Here's me walking around in the scene. It's definitely looking better than before, but this still isn't enough to scare me into crying out for my daddy in the middle of the night. So let's add some spooky fog and make it dark. Yeah, that's how daddy likes it. This game is reminding me of something, but I can't quite put my long, slender finger on it. I would strongly advise against you ever saying that again, sir. I think making this game a Slender Man-like is a good idea, and let me tell you why. I present to you images of Luke in his natural habitat. Notice Exhibit A. Now Exhibit B. Now turn your attention to Exhibit D. Now don't get me wrong, although it might seem like I'm trying to say the original Slenderman game is a lazy game, this is far from the truth. The game is simple, but amazingly effective in its simplicity. Just like how amazingly effective and simple cyber attacks are nowadays. What a transition! With attacks like linking up to untrustworthy free Wi-Fi connections, or MITMs. Give me your password, numbnuts. Ransomware that holds your data hostage. Pay up, numbnuts. Phishing attacks. It's me, your grandma, numbnuts! And hackers sneaking into your accounts with your passwords. Watch me mess with all your stuff, numbnut. No, you're the numbnuts with help of this video's partner, NordVPN. How did you get in here? NordVPN allows you to scan your device for malware, and it blocks malicious websites, stops web trackers, hides your IP, and can be used to remove annoying ads. If you sign up with my link at nordvpn.com/DaWorm, each purchase of NordVPN's 2-year plan adds 4 bonus months on top, which is currently their best deal, and it's only obtainable through creative partnerships like this. So get protection today using my code, nordvpn.com/DaWorm. If you do sign up and you aren't satisfied, you can get your money back within 30 days, guaranteed. Again, that's nordvpn.com/DaWorm for the special offer. Thank you, NordVPN. I'll take it from here. Just to recap, in Slender the 8 Pages, the player's walking around a dark forested area collecting glitter while being chased around by the tall, dark, and slender man. The way the game works is that each time the player finds and collects a note, Slender Hottie gets more aggressive and more loud and more likely to catch the player. Or at least I think that's how it works. I never actually got past collecting the first note. I was too scared. Everything works together to make a pretty scary gaming experience. The loud booming music, the eerie ambiance, all the way down to the creepy handwritten notes that all look like they were drawn by a preschooler who was traumatized at an early age after seeing a bird smack into a window. I'm so lucky I get to take my precious little angel to school today. Then you promise not to hurt Jimmy with those scissors again, right? Yes, Mommy. Roger dodger that. Requesting backup, I see a potential Red Rover, send Sally on over.
Okay, so if I'm making a Slender-like, we need to have something to collect in this forest. My first thought was that I should make mushrooms. It's not as scary as a psychotic preschooler leaving trash around in the woods, but it'll do. I didn't have a mushroom model already made up. They're simple enough though, when I don't care that much. In the Slendy game, the way you find the collectibles is just by stumbling across them, and I believe that they're in a set location each time you play, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't think this suited the mushroom idea though, since they should be free to just grow anywhere in the forest, but this makes it a bit annoying to try and find them. All you do is aimlessly wander around and hope to get lucky. To fix this problem, I decided if I made the mushrooms glow, then it won't be such a crapshoot. But that opened up a whole different can of worms, because now when you play, it's just a game of spotting glowing mushroom, walk to glowing mushroom. Whatever. Lazy, Luke. We're going for lazy. Let's make a monster. I started by taking another old model I made of a guy and tweaking him up a bit in an attempt to get something spooky. But old Gimp suit here was looking more sus than spook. And this is where I had to remind myself that I was putting way too much effort into this. The aim was lazy. I decided to just go back to the regular guy model I'd used originally. Maybe I'd make him look like a lazy Shadow Link or something, I don't know. But when I put him into Mixamo, which is a website that allows you to rig 3D models and download animations, I realized something that changed my life. When you animate a 3D model, you usually do so with these things called bones, which when all put together is a way for the software to know which parts of the model should be able to move and which parts probably shouldn't. If you put a model into Mixamo without any bones, Mixamo will rig the model with bones for you, but only after you tell it where some key body parts of the model are located, namely the elbows, chin, knees, and groin. That's when it hit me. What if I had Mixamo rig the model with bones after I told it all the wrong locations? I'll tell it that the elbows are at the knees are on the arms, the groin is all the way up here, and the chin is down in the netherlands. Oh, Mixamo's cooking. I went into this venture with very few expectations. Let me tell you fellas, this payoff is huge. I have never been so pleasantly disgusted in my life. I'm gonna name him GROINCHIN. Look at that ugly Funko Pop go. What is he trying to do? I have no idea. Now I can't just have dropped at birth Sebulba here randomly flopping around. I want my boy to feel the thrill of the chase. I want him to be hunting down the player at all times. Let's see here. Ah, yes, quite. Watch how easily I steal your free code. Alright, Ugly is out here somewhere. We're hoping to get a lucky peek of his mug before he catches... Oh. Okay, we're trying that again. Oh, there he is. You are just such a delight to look at and insult. I added a jump scare catch scene when the monster catches the player. The camera will switch to watching the monster's face and the little camera shake rumble plays. There will be sound and music later on, I promise, but for now this is how it looks. Pretty typical jump scare stuff. And I've seen enough of this freak. Cue fade out, slap on a main menu, a winning a game over screen, and we are done with this lazy trash. I want to thank you guys for watching, and also don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you to all of my... Hey man, what's up? It's me again, Future Luke. Jesus, dude. I thought I told you to never come back here to the present again. Yeah, listen. I wanted to just come back here and tell you that you should probably stop calling this project a quick and lazy game because you end up putting a lot more effort into it than you initially expected. Oh, whatever. Get out of here, loser. I'm tired of hearing my own voice give me reasonable advice. Okay, whatever. That guy. Oh, sorry about your wall, man. I hope it's a cheap fix. Alright, I could end the video here, but the truth is there's a whole bunch of things in this game that I'm just not very happy with. Like, well, not to name names. One part of the gameplay that really needs to be looked at is the mushrooms. Like I mentioned before, now all that you do as a player is see a mushroom and then walk to it. And I like my games to be a little bit less brain dead than that. Here's what I thought of. What if I make it so the mushrooms only glow when you turn off your flashlight and submit yourself to the darkness? Then I could have it so the monster gets faster when the light is off, motivating the player to not stay in the darkness for too long. I give the mushrooms a facelift and a proper texture. Oh my god, does this need to be blurred? Does everything I make become not safe for YouTube? What a beautiful day to be out hiking in the wilderness. Mushrooms? Children, cover your eyes. Now the mushrooms are normal when the light is on, and glow when the light is off. Check out how it looks when there are several thousands of mushrooms. Kinda cool. I'm sure this tickles somebody's giblets. I also thought it'd be cool if there was some kind of benign creature or spirit that walked in the general direction towards where the mushrooms are located. I figured this might be a cool way to help the player know where to go. The idea for these little guys is inspired from a scene in the Studio Ghibli movie Howl's Moving Castle, when Howl's powers are being drained or something. And it made my little spirit guys do a kind of dance that is not too similar to how the spirits in the movie dance. I honestly don't think that the spirits help a whole ton with the gameplay, but they add to the scene, so we'll keep the little fellas. I also added these various sized root things and the air tree from the Elden Ring because I like getting sued. Oh, and look at this biggie. When I first started stitching the spirit world together, I had it so that everything in the overworld would disappear when the player entered the spirit world, but I felt like it was teleporting the player to a different dimension rather than the player just seeing a different world around them, so I decided it felt better to keep the trees in the spirit world view. I like this way a lot more.
I think it's about time we actually add some horror to the game, you know, something that's actually horrifying, not just horrifying to look at. Oh, you're here.
Father, why do you hate me?
What? No. Never call me father again. Now go back and finish cleaning the toilet. Oh, come here. Shh. Daddy loves you. Daddy loves you, you freak of nature. He just really needs that toilet cleaned. Another thing this game is missing, along with talent, is a cool story. So it's about time we start adding some interesting elements to the game.
Check out this weird root thing I found in a weird place somewhere located in this part of the world. I saw this and I thought it looked remarkably like a figure of a small root-bodied person. Almost like someone or something was gruesomely encased in the root. So I took the picture, then I went home and drew up the design in my book of monsters. I felt like a little guy like this would fit really well in the foresty setting, so I made a model of our wooden boy and I put him in the center of the forest. We'll talk about the wooden boy a little bit later, but now the player needs to have a place to stay in the forest. So I took the house that I made back in the beginning of this video, and I slapped some greasy looking textures on it. Because I set the mushrooms to spawn literally anywhere on the map, I had to put the house up on stilts so that the player could walk under it and collect mushrooms if they choose to spawn there.
For some reason, when I first imported the house from Blender, it came with invisible walls. You know what they say about people who live in glass houses? People in glass homes shouldn't dangle their stones.
Alright, I got that fixed. You can let your stones dangle now. We can't just let this house stay empty. We've got to have some more life added to it. A table with empty pill bottles on it, carpet stains, cryptic wall drawings, and a single lit candle, and a body in the bed upstairs. Here's me putting a ton of effort into making a poorly modeled body under a blanket. Because you end up putting a lot more effort into it than you initially
expected. Oh no. Future Luke was right.
Here's the creepy body in the bed. I added some particles that might look like flies if you squint at them, and I felt like he needed something in there to keep him entertained, so I put a TV in the room with him. I wanted the TV in the room to be playing this scene from that dang Michael Mouse game I once made, but I couldn't seem to get it to work in glorious Godot. I'll try again later, but it might never be a thing. It's time to address the elephant dung in the room. We can't be going around updating everything and not give attention to this glorious creature. I really like the woodlands vibe we have going on here, and I want the new monster to fit in with that. I thought about a Wendigo-like thing, or something like the forest god Moder from the movie The Ritual, but then my mind turned to the little root wooden boy thing in the center of the forest, and I like the idea of having the monster also be made out of wood. I came up with this design of a creature that is made of roots sprouting from the ground, but twisted in a way that looks like it has a body and limbs like a person. I could then have this Rootman drag itself around like it was trying to imitate a real person. And I want our Rootman to have a face, but I'm going to pivot for a moment while I go over the reason for my next decision. Again, referencing the Studio Ghibli films, there's a scene in the movie Spirited Away where the little girl helps a river spirit while working in the bathhouse. After she helps the spirit, the thing gives her a gift, destroys the bathhouse, and flies away, and everyone is happy. I'm butchering it to preserve the film. If you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you fix that. In that scene, the water spirit's face mask rises up out of the water, wrinkled and agape, and the eye socket's almost bulging with more wrinkled skin instead of eyes. The scene always seemed a bit creepy to me, even though it probably wasn't meant to be creepy at all, or at least not as far as I could tell. I thought giving our Rootman a similar mask would look really cool, and here's what I drew up as a concept for it. Although I do think this looked cool, and I did end up giving our Rootman a mask, I didn't go with the same wrinkled style. I went the cheap route and just gave him a round looking mask with what looks like blood coming from his eyes, but maybe I'll circle back to the wrinkled face mask later on. Maybe you noticed a certain similarity with the creature and the limbless body in the bed upstairs. There's a lot more to talk about with this game, like why is the player collecting spirit mushrooms? Why is the forest enclosed in a concrete maze runner-like box? Why is there a little wooden boy effigy in the center of the forest? And why is there a dead body wrapped up in the upstairs bed? And why hasn't my father come back with the milk yet? I would love to hear your own ideas and thoughts about what you think is going on in this game, but I want to be level with you. The game is almost completely finished and ready to publish. There's actually a pretty good chance the game is ready for you to play right now, since all of you are living in the future. So while there is a chance I will be able to incorporate your ideas into the game, I can't promise anything. I'd love to hear your thoughts anyway. If you thought this video was interesting and you'd like to see how this game or any of the other games I'm making turn out, account, subscribe. Thank you to all my subscribers, and a big smooch to all my supporters on Patreon. Stefan, Sly, Vervain, Solus, Betsy Urena, Mackenzie, Jan, Rosie, Fireblade, and Xbox. You guys are awesome. Now let's watch them get eaten. And to you who watched this far into the video, you know I love you.
I love you, father.
I love you too, son. You're a mistake I'm glad I made.
What?